sort of what is going on globally is everybody is just choosing money of the bag, as kids say nowadays. That's what the problem is. Nobody is, everybody's screaming and yelling about shit that doesn't matter, like stand-up comedians. They'll yell about that, but they won't talk about literally people poisoning their own countrymen. I mean, they should be put to death for what they did.
There's plenty of reasons why Bill Burr is one of the best comedians in the biz, and though he has his moments, when he's spitting facts like this, you should definitely listen up.
Over here, the big thing is if you know somebody's fighting for the people, they're immediately branded a socialist or a communist, and they somehow try to tie him to Putin. It's just like, or he just thinks the banking system's a little up and maybe it shouldn't be run by a private corporation. Could be that.
Though he didn't explicitly say it, Burr is highlighting arguably the most pervasive and self-destructing aspect of American culture, a complete lack of class consciousness. Corporations and the ultra-wealthy have and will always stick together and align politically to ensure their financial interests are protected no matter who's governing in Washington. But as we've seen over the years with the Republican Party making big gains with middle and working class voters and Dems abandoning the populist economic policies that would improve the material conditions of their base of support, the real enemies to the American people, billionaires, corporations, etc., have infected our political system so much that the people who want to uphold this system would rather lose elections and see symbolic gestures than doing what is necessary to win, cutting money completely out of politics.
He lived up to so many of the promises he's made. There's one promise left that he could fulfill, being a transitional figure. He could resign the presidency in the next 30 days. Make Kamala Harris the president of the United States.
If this is your response to getting blown out in a presidential election to one of the weakest candidates in American history, then you should never be involved in another presidential campaign again. But what else do you expect when the Dems donors have the same class interests as Republican donors?
Multiple sources tell me tonight that Musk has been seen at Mar-a-Lago nearly every single day since Donald Trump won, dining with him on the patio at times. Today, they were seen on the golf course together. Musk has been in the room when world leaders have called Trump. And tonight we've learned he's also weighing in on staffing decisions, making clear his preference for certain roles even. Publicly tonight, Elon Musk is backing Florida Senator Rick Scott as the next leader of the Republican conference to replace Mitch McConnell. While Musk himself is still not expected to take any kind of formal position inside Trump's administration, given how complicated it would be with his companies, what's becoming clearer tonight is that he doesn't really need to, with one source telling me Elon Musk is having just as much influence from the outside.
That's the whole game right there. There is no deep, thoughtful, ideological reason why Elon bankrolled Trump's campaign. That's all a distraction to cover for the reality that he made a financial investment in Trump's victory. And since Trump won, Musk is now expecting his return for that investment. That return won't be limited to just staffing preferences and exclusive access to world leaders, business deregulation, environmental deregulation, and a boatload of new government contracts to extract more wealth from the American public and funnel it directly into Elon's pockets. But the old guard of the Dems would never say this out loud, which is a major reason why they're steadily losing voters to the Republicans.
The cost of living has gone up within these past 4 years, and I think that everyone here has been a victim of that.
In the future, I want to be able to own a home. And when he was president, the prices were a lot lower, especially for home buyers. And that is a huge issue for me. I want to be able to own my own home. I want to be able to start a family at an affordable cost.
I like the no tax on tips and no tax on overtime. I'm a big fan of lowering taxes personally. And in high school, I worked jobs that I earned money through tips. So that would have been able to help me save a lot more for college. And I think that would have helped me out a lot more in the long run.
What the Dems have failed to realize is not only are all of these voters' concerns and feelings valid, but that there are left-wing solutions to these very real economic pains. Aggressively combating greedflation and corporate price gouging, outlawing corporate landlords, enforcing rent caps, investing in fixed income housing, raising the federal minimum wage, implementing Medicare for all, and so many other solutions would all quell the cost of living crisis so many of us are feeling right now. But again, recognizing this reality forces the Dems to reckon with their core belief that everyone can capitalism ourselves out of the situations that we are all in.
I hope you know, a lot of people are going to die. A lot of people. Ukrainians are going to die. Palestinians are going to die. Women, trans people, trans kids, immigrants, both documented and not. Poor people are going to die. A lot of people are going to die as a result of this. And not only that, but Project 2025 is fully on the table now. Our institutions have never been more threatened. The Supreme Court's going to become even further solidified as the nightmare repression tribunal it already is. RFK Jr. is going to outlaw 5G, and Dana White's going to be the goddamn Secretary of Education. But hey, at least eggs will be cheap, right? Except, oh wait, no, they very won't, because that's not how any of this actually works.
Comedian and friend of the network, Trey Crowder, sees this reality as well.
Your boy's going to round up all the egg workers. Do you think that's going to help grocery prices? Come on, man. The only reason things are as expensive as they are in the first place is because Big Egg and the rest of corporate America realized that they could hike up prices and people would still be able to pay it on account of Joe Biden's economy has actually been rocking pretty hard. Jesus Christ. I hate everything. And then lastly, we also know that there's plenty of people in this country who would gladly burn democracy to the ground just as long as libs get owned in the process. And who knows? They very well may have done so. I guess we'll all find out. All we can really hope for now is that these people continue to be as fundamentally incompetent and dysfunctional as they historically have been, and as such, maybe some of their more destructive plans will not come to pass.
Though the second Trump administration could very well be just as inept as the first in achieving its dystopian goals, we'll hold our breath because MAGA has had a full 4 years to organize themselves and chart out their course of action. So even the slightest bits of competence will lead to disastrous outcomes.
Our lovely fellow Americans actually get what they voted for here, then things are going to get pretty catastrophic. And if they do, then maybe 4 years from now, this fickle, shuddering empire of ours will once again turn to a Democrat to clean up a Republican's mess, as it has so often done in the past.
Now, on that point of things getting pretty catastrophic.
Third, we will ensure our classrooms are focused not on political indoctrination, but on teaching the knowledge and skills needed to succeed. Reading, writing, math, science, arithmetic, and other truly useful subjects. Fourth, we will teach students to love their country, not to hate their country like they're taught right now. Fifth, we will support bringing back prayer to our schools. And one other thing I'll be doing very early in the administration is closing up the Department of Education in Washington, D.C., and sending all education and education work and needs back to the states. We want them to run the education of our children because they'll do a much better job of it. You can't do worse.
Things are already looking pretty bleak.
Texas and those 13 original colonies would have never signed the treaty that formed the first Constitution of the United States if they didn't think that their right to protect themselves and defend their own people was protected.
We've got to say, what agencies don't we need? Why do we have the Department of Education? Why? Our states should be doing that. Our federal government should not be involved in the education system. We should let each of our states do it, and we'll find the best. You know, if Florida's the best, other people will emulate us. What I did as governor, if I saw somebody doing something well like Rick Perry, I tried to emulate it and do it better than Rick Perry. That's what we should be doing. It's the United States of America. It's not the federal government of America. It's the United States. Let's go back and give our states the ability to do these things.
America is for Americans and Americans only.
You have two policy objectives that you proceed with utter determination on. Seal the border, no illegals in. Everyone here goes out. That's very straightforward. You would establish large-scale staging grounds for removal flights. So you grab illegal immigrants and then you move them to the staging grounds, and that's where the planes are waiting for federal law enforcement to then move those illegals home. You deputize the National Guard to carry out immigration enforcement.